tights. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win, win, we just came to win. Win, win, we just came to win. Friday night lights. Friday night lights. Win, win, we just came to win. Win, win, we must protect this house. I'm in a huddle talking to the Hawks. We gonna run it down their throat soon as we get the ball. Come out and fire off the ball, we going on one. My skill position so proficient, break for long runs. Come out running that option, that mean I got the option to keep that or pitch that. Defense, they gotta fix that. 4 receivers, we spread them out in the shotgun. Hot reads, I got some. My tight end so awesome. Touchdowns, I toss some. We score 6, scoreboard, that score 6. Respect the ball.
And good evening. I'm Kevin Hastings along with Dennis Davis, Will the Thrill Boykins, Texas Terry Reinhardt, John Prather's in the house, Trent Marty's in the house. We've got all kinds of football scores on a Thursday special
Thursday night
edition.
football. Hey, they advertise it all the time.
They
Thursday night
Well,
football.
we actually, hey guys, listen to this. We at KTC Broadcasting bumped the NFL tonight. I just want y'all to know. I just want y'all to know how much we care about high school sports. Tonight we bumped Thursday night football, NFL. So you guys got to listen. If you were listening on the radio tonight, some of you in different districts, because of the rain and everything, got to listen to different games. And for other reasons, you got to listen to different games. So Lincoln County tonight, you got a special broadcast of a great game between Shelby and East Rutherford. Golden Lions win 31-14 over the Cavaliers. Also, in the Cherville area tonight, you got a special treat, and you got to listen to Kings Mountain football tonight at Forest View. That game, I think it was halftime, or I know it's late in the second quarter. I would make sure 9-7 Forest View.
Yeah. Wow.
It was 2-0 after the first quarter.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, we talk about you betting pools and stuff. I'm betting that someone lost or someone might have made a lot of money if they had Forest View 2-0 in the betting pool after one. Who's got Forest View on the board 2-0? Cal wins all the money. But we had some of those. Cherville tonight, folks. If you listen to Cherville, listening on WCSL, they play tomorrow at 7:30. Highland Tech plays tomorrow at 7:30. As well against Union Academy, and then East Lincoln plays tomorrow night, 7:30.
Are we covering the Howland Tech game tomorrow?
No, we are not. Tomorrow night we will have Cherville Ironman football on WCSL. I'm not sure about any of the other stations right now. If we got any, the Hornets play tomorrow night. I'm not sure if we got that on that. Since we don't have Friday night football, things have changed here. Let's give you the scores that we got so far. Terry's got some explaining to do here in a little bit. He's going to have to come in here and face some of these folks. Too bad Shannon's not here to help him, so Shannon has to wait a whole week.
We need to have a little conference with this pregame show.
Apparently, the offensive coordinator in Boiling Springs was listening to the predictions tonight. These guys said they didn't know if Crest could score that many on Burns, and they only got 63 in the first half. Good news is, technically, Terry and Shannon was right, guys. Burns shut them out in the second half.
Yeah.
Right? Burns shut them out in the second half, so congratulations. I mean you got to look at it.
And
silver lining, Trent. Silver lining.
In the second half, it was Burns 7,
didn't
Crest
Burns win second
nothing.
half?
Right.
Okay.
Burns 7, Crest nothing. Second half.
Now in baseball, the way it used to work was the first half champion made the NLCS championship, and the second half champion made the NLCS. So right now it's 1-1. You guys got to play overtime to finish it off. I say kickoff maybe. I don't know.
But they played 4 games.
Huh?
They played 4 games.
Yeah, they let y'all win the first half. They got out of hand. They said, okay, let's rest everybody. Second half, we're going to win the second half, Will. That's what I get from it.
Now, in fairness to Burns, you
is that not how it works?
Starting quarterback.
Is that not how it works?
And you cannot compare baseball to football, two different sports.
My fault.
Terry was probably thinking Burns had their starting quarterback, so
Hey, Will, Bessemer stomped one into Community School of Davis tonight. They win by 1. 44-43.
Defensive struggle.
Look, if I was going to pick the score of that game, Terry, did you have 87 points in the Bessemer Community Davidson game?
Did anybody make a tackle in that game? Was there any tackling?
There were more tackles from Burns tonight than there was in Bessemer in the Davidson game. That's 87 points in that one. Technically, it was. That was 23. They did 24 points better than those two teams did. South Point shuts out Chase 49-0. No surprise. Close game in the 1A. Southern Piedmont 1A. A lot of people were concerned about in the Charters. Thomas Jefferson wins on the road in Mountain Island Charter 32-27, and that was pretty much for the conference, maybe, Terry?
And kudos to Terry for picking Thomas Jefferson when your colleagues pick Mountain Island Charter, Terry. But just rub it in next week.
Who picked Mountain Island Charter? Shannon. What about Carson? Did he pick that game? He didn't pick that game. So Shannon didn't realize the Bessemer had already beat Mountain Island, right? I guess he got to pay attention. He's got to pay attention. You got to pay attention to Yellow Jackets, Will. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I did.
Speaking of that, I got a special invite for you, November 17th. You ready to see some ballers again? Year two.
No.
Year two.
I'm not.
Shot. I've been working on the shot too. We're ready. We've got a.
That I would come just for.
You
the
need
comedic.
to come. I'll pay for your way in. I will pay for your way in. Comedian. What are you talking about?
Aspect of
You're gonna see threes get rained.
I'm gonna see you playing basketball.
Yeah, and the threes are gonna rain.
Will, is that where they ride the donkeys and play basketball?
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be somewhere close to riding donkeys.
Me and Ty Carter are probably gonna combine for 15 threes. I might get 2 of them, but we're gonna combine for about 15 threes. Okay, so you're gonna get a show.
Could use your help.
But Ty Carter, seriously, if you like shooting in today, you got to see this kid shoot. Kid now, he's 30 years old now, but he's got the state record. I think 17 in a game, threes. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
17 threes in one game,
okay.
Will.
It's okay.
One game. Jeez. That's a lot. All right, Kings Mountain 55-16 over Forest View in Gastonia. Lake Norman Charter falls 49-0 at Bandy's. That sets up, after the North Lincoln victory tonight, the championship in the South Fork 2A. 2 undefeated teams.
That is going to be
Bandy's
a good
and
game.
North Lincoln.
Going to be a good game.
Is it not? How about Coach Basil? Third, undefeated right now in the conference. He
Even if
comes
his
in
mama
first.
did go to East.
Crazy. How amazing is that? Yeah. Everybody's mama, yeah, that's the best joke over there. And I know a bunch of people over there, but they would make that joke, Will. You're 100% right about that. Hold on. Had a cough there. Maiden 43-40 over Newton Conover.
Yeah. Late
in that game. I want to read you guys some funny from the thread on the guy that was tweeting that game out. At 28-26, y'all listen to this. At 28-26, he tweets out, Maiden.
Oh, my.
Here you go, Will. At 28-26, the guy done the game tweets out, Maiden up 28-26 with a chance to put the game out of reach here with 4 minutes left. I said 28-26. Now look at the score. 43-40. Yeah. After he said they're about to put the game out of reach, there was another.
Maybe we should hire him for the pregame show.
Another 30 points put on the board. 29 points.
Terry.
This game's almost over. 29 points later.
They blocked a field goal by them that ball would have tied.
Blocked a field goal to tie at the end. Maiden with the block to win. So congratulations to the Blue Devils on the win tonight. On the road, which is always big.
Who's the coach at Newton Conover?
Coach Pack.
Coach Pack. Used to be at Burns.
Stephen Pack, he's been around, followed Coach Beam and the gang around from spot to spot. Yeah. Now he's settled in up at Newton Conover. He was at North Lincoln last year.
Where's
and he went
Coach Beam at
now? He is retired.
Selling furniture.
Yep.
Couch.
RS Central wins 21-6 over East Gaston. West Iredale falls at Highbright, the number 8 2A team in the state, 56-14. Fred T. Ford 69-14 over East Burke. Patton 39-0 over Bunker Hill. McDowell 56-6 over West Caldwell.
Give me 5, Will.
South Caldwell 44-28 over St. Stephen's.
Sorry.
All right, Will, you're so silly. Will Thrills in the house tonight. What? You was thinking about watching those threes? What?
Hey, I didn't say. I just was wondering. I knew Beam wasn't there no more, so Coach Pack was there.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Domino's Pizza tonight, guys. We are stuffing our faces right now here. Cherville, give them a call in Kings Mountain tonight. You ain't got your Domino's yet?
I am Domino's deprived tonight.
You need to get there and get the Domino's.
Hey.
You remember the Noid? You're dressed like the Noid tonight and all that red.
Okay.
Get you a funny little hat.
You could only wish to look this good.
That is, I love that jacket. I was gonna say I love the Will Boykins.
How many people are in the Boykins family?
Oh God!
Didn't you learn when the food's on the table you eat?
I know Earl.
You know Earl.
Earl Boykins.
JQ.
Yeah, he's 5'5", plays in the NBA. See him on TV. Is that not your cousin?
That's Earl.
Right.
Yeah. He don't play in the NBA no more, but yeah.
He no more. Is he not in there anymore? Yeah. But Will's jacket does say Will Boykins, sales professional.
Hey, I asked you.
He don't say what he's selling, but he's a sales
He's a sales professional. He passed the course. What was the course, Will?
Grant Cardone.
He is a graduate of the Grant Cardone. Not the Cordon Bleu, but the Grant Cardone.
So tonight I'm eating, we got pineapple pizza, pepperoni pizza, we've got sausage pizza, Domino's, give them a call. They're our post-game food sponsors.
Not bad too either.
You know, folks, when you listen and we talk about our food and everything, the pregame meals and our postgame meals, please stop and thank them and eat something from them because they do keep it. You know, we're here for 5, 6, 7 hours at a time sometimes doing these games and for
with that Domino
and they help out
in the old Chucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, that's where it is. For anybody that knows, you may tell you something more extraordinary than the fact that you know that. I'll give you something even better about that, Will. Not only is the Domino's in the old KFC building, they have the exact same phone number KFC had 20 years ago when they were in that building.
Really?
Yes.
Can I get some wings
Somebody
to go?
told me that. I was like, I'd have never known that. I'd have never, ever guessed. And there's like, yeah, that's still the old, because their sister worked at the KFC, and they knew. I was like, that's the same number. Can you believe that?
I used to drive by that KFC every day going to work.
When I was little, that's what we got, and we would stop there on Sundays and take some chicken down to
Dead Bird in the Box.
Yep, that down.
Dead Bird.
All right, anyway, let's see. Alf.
Hey, you own it tonight. I just had to.
Hey,
I'm here.
I'll be here all week, folks.
So Dennis, you don't think that High Brighton is the number 8 team in the state?
I disagree with the Max Preps rankings.
Yeah, I highly disagree.
I don't know how in the blazes they came up with it. They did have Hunter Huss at number 1.
They went 31-7 tonight. We forgot to mention that a minute ago.
That was 10-7 at one point.
A lot.
And I'm going
guys,
like,
Steve DeGree's on the phone.
Hey, Steve DeGree's on the phone.
Hey, Steve.
He was there in Rutherford County tonight.
Eastern
Steve
Rutherford had to deal with that ragged eagle bunch up there at the middle school.
Oh.
He can't even say hello, Will.
Be kind to Steve.
He can't even say hello, Will. Steve, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize.
The game. Hey, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Coach, before you tell us about Shep, y'all had the big game between y'all and the Eagles.
Yes, sir.
Tell me where you went wrong, because I heard it was a one-man show. Y'all got beat by one guy.
I guess it was wrong when we got off the bus. I'm not making excuse to Burns Middle School. They had a great football team, and it just wasn't our day. They played well, and they deserved to win. And we sugarcoating, but I'm always straight up. They just outplayed us in all phases of the game. We make turnovers, but it just wasn't our day.
Mama said there'd be days like that, but they play Kings Mountain next week. Steve, you got a prediction on that one?
Nah, I ain't even gonna go there.
Go stay out of that, okay? I don't blame you.
I just with both teams play well, and none of the teams get hurt. Only thing I'm really sad about is some of the fans on the Chevy side was, criticizing our coaching. They was at the game last Wednesday, and they was loving us, and yesterday they was hating us.
But, Steve, isn't that the nature of football fans and coaches? You know how it is. Coach, I love you, win or tie.
Yes. Want to know why we didn't throw it? Well, we throwed it, and they intercepted and ran it back for a touchdown. That's why we
that play didn't work, Steve.
They said, well, why you don't run it? Well, we run it, and we fumbled it 3 times. I mean, you can't satisfy fans.
Yeah.
One guy made a statement that.
There's one thing about it, Coach. You can't go out. You can call the play, and you can put them in the right position to run the play that you call, but you can't run the play. So
you never know when Cam Newton's going to fumble in the Super Bowl and not jump on it, do you? I mean, you just don't know that.
That's millions.
You never know when he's going to come from 17-0 down and come back.
Oh, prevent defense. Don't give me that. Anyway, Steve.
He dropped 21 in the fourth quarter, dude.
Yeah. Where's your Beagles? I mean, Eagles.
All right, Steve, go ahead. Sorry.
And got to realize, these are middle school kids, You never know
exactly
if they're going to be paying attention to detail or what. So, but anyway, I take our record, our middle school record against any other middle school team around here from year to year and year to year, and I think we will do pretty good. So that's all I had to say about that. I know I keep
congratulations on the city.
They played hard. They played hard. We were just outmanned yesterday. So my hat's off to Burns Middle School. I would take nothing away from them. Those young guys play hard. They're number 3. He's a real good football player.
All right, Steve.
I hope they keep him at Burns.
Right, exactly. Steve, up in Rutherford County tonight, close game there early on for the most part. Then Shelby pulls away late. That sets up you guys a matchup with South Point. You talk a little bit about tonight and how that leads into next week.
Well, you know, we had to stop at number 13. The guy that got selected for the Shrine Bowl. East, they came out to play hard. And, one thing, East had 2 former Shelby players playing with them. Taiwan Hill and Isaac Green both won state championship game. Won both championship rings with Shelby. Now they're playing for East. And, you know, Coach playing and Coach Cheeks, they do a great job with her. So the kids, they play hard. Now, it was a good, hard-fought football game. And at the end, we just warmed down and won the football game. Dante Fuller really, really ran hard tonight, gentlemen. He ran that ball hard. Scored 3 touchdowns, 2 running, 1 passing. It was a great defensive game. So I think maybe Jalen Scott, Nick Stikes probably had double-figure tackles. Blocked the pass, recovered the fumble. Deshaun Christopher picked one off and ran it back, but, you know, he got called back. But it was a great Shelby East Rutherford football game.
Well, Steve, congratulations to Scott on making the Shrine Bowl, too. They were the kid from East and him. I think we're about the only 2 in our area that actually got on the Shrine Bowl team. So congratulations to Jalen.
I told him after the game, I remember when he was in the 7th grade, one of the laziest kids probably ever put on just middle school football uniform. I mean, plumb lazy. And look at him now. So I told him after the game, and he gave me a big old smile. So my congratulations to Jalen for making the Shrine Bowl. Well, I hope he don't get to play in it.
Because it's championship weekend for those of you that
I get it. I get why he's saying that.
Aren't aware of it. Because of the hurricanes, it's now championship weekend, and so you got to play in the championship game or the Shrine Bowl. You can't do both. But Steve, do a little prognostication.
Whoa! Now, if he's in Chapel Hill, he could borrow Fedora's helicopter and then get to the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah.
Or if he's at State, do they not have a helicopter at State now?
They don't have a helicopter at State. But no. Fedora will not fly him because he's already committed.
Yeah, they got a drone over.
They just didn't get the helicopter. So the state taxpayers are paying for it.
Yeah, he can use Terry's helicopter.
I think for him being a team player, I think he would pass the Shrine Bowl up.
No, I mean after the game, you win the championship, you get carried off the field, get on the helicopter, and go to the Shrine Bowl.
Well, Shrine Bowl probably it'll be over with by the time they get there.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then. I'm sorry.
Well, Steve, what about next week? The South Point Red Raiders, your nemesis. Can you tell us a little bit about the slobber knocker? Is that the way it's going to turn out again?
That's all you got to say. South Point and Shelby. Everything else take care of itself. It's been like that for years. Even back in the 70s when I played.
Jim Biggerstaff, yep. Pearlie Allen.
Pearlie Allen. I remember, I keep saying this to y'all every year. I remember the year of 74.
Yep.
Dusty Haynes kicked the winning field goal, and they was number 1 in the state. They had beat us early that year. We went down to South Point, beat them 16-14. Dusty Haynes kicked the field goal, won the game. And Coach Pearlie Allen did not want to leave.
Nope.
He wanted to stay down there and stay down there. And it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game. We got an FIA game again. Got that red bone. You know the red bone going to be in full effect.
Well, you don't have to study a lot of film this week because you know what they're going to do.
Yeah, you already know. 4 yards in the cloud of dust, and then they're going to throw it to the number 5 to the good kid. And we just got to have a game.
Real good.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Great kid.
All right, Steve, we appreciate you, buddy, as always, giving us a call and telling us about the middle school and little information that people don't always get. And it's for people like you that keep this stuff going. Thank you, Steve.
Hey.
Steve, how did you like the Virginia Tech Carolina game?
I I love the Dax played a lot. He got to play a lot that game. I guess maybe they let him play because he was closer to home. I don't know, but he took the 44th spot a lot in that game. He did great. He did well.
And if you hadn't heard, Steve, this week he gets to wear the number 25 jersey versus Georgia Tech. That's Frank Beamer's old number.
That's like the specialty teams or the defensive player of the game a week or something, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's great because, Dex has got one of the great work ethics. I don't think any kid could beat his work ethic on what he does. And that's great, a great tribute to Dax Hollifield himself. Well,
I figured you'd enjoy seeing Dax. I didn't know so much about the Tar Heels, but I figured you'd like to see you.
Well, Ashley Dennis, I was in a no-lose situation, brother.
Yep.
I was in a no-lose situation.
There you go, Steve. Appreciate your call, man.
All right, man. Y'all fellas, you'd have to do that to Chris. You'd have to do that to Burns, but I know they had a quarterback, but
we tried our best not to. We started the clock running in the first half.
It can't happen when you throw pick sixes, so can't tell the kids stop playing. But anyway, thank y'all guys for allowing me to say something.
Thanks,
thank you, Steve.
All right, brother.
Hey, Steve, when they get a chance, y'all call Coach Ware, tell him to drop 5 and move up 2. That's the way you beat the old Red Bone. Drop 5 down, move up 2.
That's all Will said to do. Y'all just listen to Will. He's got it. Listen, both these teams have won 6 straight games. They both lost the week 4, September 7th. Shelby to Crest, South Point at Clover, and since then, both teams undefeated headed into this final week. The great news for KTC Broadcasting is that the game is at Shelby this year and not at South Point, so we're allowed to do video there. South Point won't allow video over there. So the fans of Cleveland County, fans of North Carolina, fans in America, fans across the world, next Friday night can watch South Point and Shelby. I'm so thankful for the folks there in Cleveland County.
I wouldn't want to be you next week because you got to choose between South Point and Shelby and Crest and Kings Mountain. Mm-hmm. So what's it going to be?
For it to do what? I've got this special page on KTC Broadcasting that I made for myself.
Yeah.
And really for the world to watch. You can watch all 4 games at once on one page.
Really?
Folks, all 4 Cleveland County broadcasts at once on one page on KTC Broadcasting. Just go to ktcbroadcasting.com, click on the video. You can watch our broadcast tonight as well, and then you can watch all 4 games at once. So tonight you can sit there and watch all 4. It's pretty cool. I highly advise it. A couple of other things, you guys, as we move on from Shelby, South Point, and all that. The note on Cam Newton, I looked up some fun notes for you guys. I know Will loves my notes. Stat time.
Only note I want
Stat time.
Only note I want you to realize.
Mm-hmm.
17-0 going into the fourth quarter.
Right, congratulations.
21.
It was 28-3 when the Patriots came back against Falcons.
21 to freaking 17.
Okay, congratulations.
At the end of the game.
What was the final score?
21-17.
21 points. Since 1996, the year after the Panthers came into the NFL, only twice has league average been less than 22 points a game. So congratulations, he scored average number of points in a game at 21, less than average since it hasn't been 21 since 1995.
What was his passer rating?
So 23 years ago, in the first 3 quarters,
no,
it was 0.
In the game. In the game, what was his passer rating?
I don't know the total game.
138.
There's no way it was in the game because the first 3 quarters were so bad. I'll look it up. But anyway, Virginia Tech's getting beat right now. So Joel Clemmer gives us a call right now, 55-16. He was over in Forest View. I was wondering if Jeff was going to give us a call too. Maybe he didn't say if he was going to that Husk game or Forest View, if he's going to stick it out. But we got Joel on the phone. Joel, it was 2-0.
Oh my.
7-2. And then it turned into 9-7, and then it was 55-16.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, Joel, you got us?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah, it's a little wild over there, wasn't it?
Kings Mountain's unbelievable sometimes. I don't know, when they go cold one half and go hot the next, but I give credit to Forest View, though. They stuck with their game plan. They took it to us, and we just couldn't capitalize on our. But I'm just glad Rakayla Mack got going, even though I just kind of got a little upset with him. And I said, if they can't stop him, he only had like 6 touches in the first half. And he had some big runs right off the bat, and I just couldn't understand when our passing wasn't going. I said, give it to him. They ain't stopping him yet.
Well, Joel, you're exactly right. Hunter and Ken and Tim were talking about that on the broadcast at halftime, where Kalen had 6 carries, 48 yards. Is that 8 yards to carry? And he's only got 6 carries, and the score was 9-7, I think. So, like, you know, and I think part of that, Joel, and I'll say this probably as maybe as an excuse for Kings Mountain. Maybe the game plan in the first half was to throw the ball around, and it wasn't working in the cold. Obviously, Kalen might have been a surprise that, hey, we're running it pretty well. And then second half, they decided, hey, let's do what's working. I mean, you were watching the whole game.
Is that what you think?
Half
of football.
You never know. You never know, Will.
He's getting 8 yards a clip.
You try to throw some yards out there, and it just don't work.
Well, sometimes, your game plan
what's the other
work out.
excuse?
I'm going to have to call my good buddy Greg on this one because me and him went to school together. He's getting 8 yards a clip, feed the monster.
I know, you got to tell him. Yeah. He's right. When it's cold, I wouldn't want to tackle him. You got to see him in person. I'm just sitting there thinking, like, the only my dad was asking him earlier is like, I was like, well, I don't even know if I could put my arms around him to wrap him up. First of all, so legs, booty, up top, everywhere. Like, he's just so big and round, like he's like Maurice Jones-Drew is the best way I can kind of describe it. I don't know is that good? Okay,
that's a good description.
That's what I think when I see him play, and I told him, I was like, I'll just dive at his legs and just hope he tripped up. I mean, I don't know what else to do. Like, just looking at him from my size, you know, the linebackers got to wrap him up. Sorry for them, but you know, Joel, like, you know, he's just busting through tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah, he started off in the second half. He only had the first setup was him and Wade had 2 big runs, and then he finished it off on his 2 carries that he had right off the bat, and then he finished with about 150 to 160 yards, somewhere in there.
Well, what about Pacer in the receiving? He's a tremendous receiver.
He caught an unbelievable pass. I forgot for how many yards it was a deep throw, and he just went out and out jumped everybody in the back of the end zone. Yeah. It was just a tough night for the quarterback tonight. I'll tell you that. But I'm just glad Max he's getting it going a little bit, and it's going to be the big showdown next week with your Crest boys.
Well, now where's that going to be? Kings Mountain or Crest?
Kings Mountain.
I guess I might have to come over there, Joel, and just view a little bit of that.
Have me some of them chicken tenders ready.
Well,
I
thought we were trying to copy each other because, you know, last week we put up 63 points against Burns. You put up 63 points against Burns.
Well, that was in the first half. We didn't play the second half.
They got shut out second half, Joel. They talk halftime adjustments. Will I just told you? Kings Mountain made halftime adjustments. Burns made halftime adjustments.
Yeah, Burns beat us 7-0 in the second half.
Chris pulled a starters out second half. So
Coach Edens and his guys need to work on their halftime adjustments. Apparently,
it was a great halftime adjustment.
I like Coach Edens. So if Nick's listening, you know, good guys and everything over there. I sat over there for a prayer meeting one day. Took pictures of the guys, just absolutely outstanding over there. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to give props to James Usher. He had one big long. I think he had about a 70-something yard run. He just ran outside and he somehow he got through the holes and he outran everybody. I said, well, that's one of our future running backs.
Well, Joel, everybody talks about the offense. Tell us a little bit about Kings Mountain's defense. What's going on with the Kings Mountain D?
At times they struggle to stop a passing attack because they sometimes I think they play too far off, or it's just the way we set our defense. But for you, they threw about 20-something passes, and they connect about half of them. And that's like I said, I give Fortune props. That was hard to stop at first, and then we just finally figured them out. It just when Kings Mountain's got to get waking up.
Yeah.
Well, but Day Wilson had a big return on a interception, and I forgot who the other guy was. We had 2 interceptions in the third quarter and got returned, so that blew it wide open.
Yeah. Well, I wondered how you stretched it out because I know at one time there it was like, you know, 9-7, very close. And the next thing I know, you guys are just running up the score on them. So what was the big breakout? You said it was a return or what?
Yeah, our first interception was a big return by that number 10, Damian Wilson, one they called Day. And I forgot who the other guy was. It was almost like back-to-back interceptions.
Well, Joel, before we go any further, I just want to give you a personal invitation, win or lose, to come by the studio next week. You can have victory pizza or pizza in defeat, either way. But come on by, and we want to get your version of the Kings Mountain Crest game next week. And fairness, Will and I will be here, and we'll be defending.
I'll go eat pizza while y'all discuss the game. That way,
oh, yeah.
That way you ain't got 2 against 1, Joel.
Actually, I had to bypass because after the game, I'm gonna take my girls out to eat next Friday.
I don't blame you, Joel. That's always a winner. So, Joel, we'll be hearing from you. Hopefully, you have an opportunity to give us a call and tell us about the game.
I predict the game. If both offenses clicking next week, I can see the game being in the late 20s or in the 30s next Friday, or a defensive game next week. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll find out.
All right, thank you.
Like you said, Dennis, we got to play 4 quarters next week.
There you go.
Thank you for giving us a call, Joel, and we'll see you next week, buddy, over at Kings Mountain.
All right, y'all have a good night.
Real quick, Kobe Paceout tonight, his first touchdown, I watched online. He was talking about the deep pass to him, which is outstanding. If folks ever saw or remember Sage Surratt playing over here, one of the best things that he was really good at was after the catch. And same thing, you remember Jaden Borders. He's really excellent after the catch. And the same thing with Kobe is that, Hunter talking about in the game, he's been doing it for the last 5 games of theirs, that he is awesome after the catch. And it was a little bubble screen, and he just took it through, the crease there and went like 60 yards for it, just gone. And and you talk about receivers. You think Randy Moss, I just want to throw it deep or whatever. But a lot of people forget about the after the catch stuff, and there's a lot. It makes a big difference if you can get the extra yards after the catch, like Jaden and Sage and Kobe does. Kobe's a sophomore, by the way.
Yeah, he's
sophomore.
He's on a record-setting pace. I understand.
Yes, he's not bad. Did we have someone else on the phone there, JP, or are you ready for a break? I heard something. We ready for a break? All right, we need to take a break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Let's give the scores out for you folks listening at home.
Make sure you call that one out on the bottom. That just came in.
This is high school football.
We're gonna
show.
call that score.
Yeah.
This is a high school football
Georgia
show.
Southern 34, App State 14.
If you want to hear that score, tune in to Lane.
Saturday. That's for Saturday. Will shut up. Gosh,
Kevin and I are both graduates.
App gets ranked first time ever, then loses the rivals the next dang week. Good job, Dodos. Jeez. All right, Crest Wednesday night 63-14 over Burns. Shelby 31-14 over East Rutherford. Kings Mountain 55-16 over Forest View. Cherville plays tomorrow night at Pine Lake Prep, WCSL 59 a.m. In Cherville. Bessemer City wins night 44-43 over Davidson. Huss 31-7 over Kramer. Bandy shuts out Lake Norman Charter. Highland Tech will play tomorrow night 7:30 at Union Academy. Then 43-40 victories was Maiden over Newton Conover. Ashbrook 28-20 over North Gaston. That score just came in late. South Point 49-0 over Chase. Thomas Jefferson 32-27 over Mountain Island Charter. RS Central 21-6 over East Gaston. High Brighton 56-14 over West Iredale. Fred T. Ford 63-14 over East Burke. North Lincoln Wednesday night 36-26. St. Stephen's Falls at South Caldwell 44-28. McDowell 56-6 over West Caldwell. Hickory at Alexander on Friday, Fremont at Otago on Friday, and Patton at Bunker Hill tonight, 39-0 for Patton. All right, it's time to take a break. We'll be right back. KTCBroadcasting.com.
At Basic Finance in Shelby, they make the impossible possible. They have the money you need to buy what you need. Thinking about a new car? Basic Finance works with their local dealers to help get you a great rate. Maybe you want a four-wheeler, a new appliance for the home, or a new big screen TV. Basic Finance in Shelby can help with fast, friendly, confidential service. So make the impossible possible with a stop at Basic Finance. 201 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Remember, golf on Saturday, church on Sunday. Bill Shuford Heating and Air and American Standard presents the American Standard Set the Standard event. Now through November 30th, get up to $1,000 in discounts on qualifying American Standard equipment, or get 0% APR financing with 60 equal monthly payments, plus many more special Set the Standard event offers. See Bill Shuford Heating and Air for all the details. Bill Shuford Heating and Air, 213 Campbell Street in Shelby. Call 704-484-0025. Ride today at Blanton Cars in Shelby, the new car alternative. Come on in today and ride today. Down payments start as low as $500. Coming in for all the details. And check out the huge selection of late model cars, trucks, SUVs, and more. Shop online at BlantonCars.com. Ride today at Blanton Cars in Shelby, the new car alternative. Visit the locations today, 325 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby and at 1711 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Blanton Cars in Shelby. I'm Calvin Hastings for Renaldo Auto Mall Smart Service. What smart service, you say? Smart service is, to put it simple, speed, quality, and competitive pricing. Renaldo Auto Mall has brought back many of the old-time quality procedures and added some more. You get fast service oil changes, plus tire rotation, plus lube, and then they'll clean your glass and give your car a wash, all while you wait. Now that's smart service, speed, quality, and competitive pricing at Renaldo Auto Mall, where you get service at a high level of efficiency and speed. Located at 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, right below the Cleveland Mall. Shocking savings! Visit Campers Inn RV of Kings Mountain for our monster of a sale open house, October 19th to 21st, open till 9 p.m. We're slashing prices on top RVs like a 2019 Primetime Avenger ATI for just $159 a month. Hurry in for free food, family fun, and fantastic deals all weekend long. These prices are so good, they're scary, so act fast. Visit Campers Inn RV, the RVer's trusted resource, exit 8 off I-85 or campersinn.com. Inventory subject to availability. Payments based on 10% down for 180 months at 6.75% APR. WAC TTF stock number 33782.
First round pick for, am I on? I hope I am. He traded a first round pick, right? He traded Earl Thomas and he traded Dez Bryant for Amari Cooper in a second round pick. That's why I'm not a Cowboys fan. Cherry Jones. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
If Tom Landry was still coaching there, I'd be a Cowboys
They started a rookie against Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field with the number 4 QBR of all time sitting on the sideline. That's why I'm not a Cowboy fan. All right, Cherry, I have a question for you. If you had a quarterback who, after 7 years, only had 3 winning seasons, who ranks 14th in yards a game, 22nd in yards total, 16th in completion percentage, 29th in yards per attempt, 24th in rating. What would you describe that quarterback?
I'd have probably took Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, dudes trade up and pick somebody. Those are Cam's numbers. I just want to just let y'all know.
Well, thank you.
It don't. His
3 winning out of 7 seasons.
He was 21 points in the fourth quarter. He came in the game.
Cute.
A 138 pass
average. No, it was 101 in the game, by the way. That was fourth quarter, Dennis. It was 101 in the game.
Okay. I'll concede.
And I'll concede 101 is decent. That's good for Cam. Congratulations. Did you know, and I got another stat for you. When Cam's passer rating is over 100, 31-2.
Yeah.
When he's under 100, guess what? He's under by like 20 games, 500.
Will, have you got that Corona hotline number on you?
Are you a Panthers fan?
No.
Then why are you so heated about Cam Newton?
I'm just Tony Romo fan.
Did I say the word bad? Did I say all I did was state facts? Did I state facts, Terry?
That's what it is.
Terry just said he was
rattling all these Cam Newton.
I'm just saying. I mean, if y'all want to talk about somebody who scored 21 points in a quarter one time,
I'm not a Panthers fan either.
How many Romo scored against Peyton Manning?
It was 17-0 going against the reigning world champions, and he came.
No, it wasn't. The reigning world champion was on the sideline with his ring. The MVP of the Super Bowl they're playing their backup quarterback.
The reigning world champion,
Terry,
the Philadelphia Eagles.
Did the Eagles against Carolina play their backup quarterback who came off of ACL injury?
They did.
The reigning world champions, the Philadelphia Eagles,
was their defense the reigning world champion defense.
The way people, I got you, JP. The way people see things, it's crazy, Terry. I mean, I just don't get it.
I mean, with them 3 and 4, they're
the
looking for Nick Foles now.
The MVP sitting over doing crossword puzzles.
And Terry, I love you so much. I won't even say the word Clemson in front of
who?
They should put Foles in.
Oh, my goodness, Terry.
What?
My heart bleeds for you.
Where's Joel at? Joel, call
back. Lord mercy, y'all took a beating Saturday.
You know, Terry, when we were talking about that game Saturday, too. Sorry. Well, now that you brought that up, there's Terry's prediction.
Oh, my goodness.
It was still on the table.
Terry's prediction. Let me read this, Will. Final, 11-20-18. Did you sign it? No.
No.
NC State 26, Clemson 24. Will, what was the final?
Wait. It was a whole lot to a little bit. It was 7 points scored on the North Carolina State side, and there was a whole lot of points on it.
At least he took Crest to win this year.
Well, I turned the television off and went outside and turned on the radio thinking the score would change.
That's a good fan, though, isn't it? That's a good fan.
Depends on which station you listen to.
All right, we got a caller, but real quick, Terry, I want you to answer average, below average, or above average.
Okay.
Okay? Out of 32, 14th.
Who's the caller?
Average.
22nd.
That's below.
16th.
Bobby from Shelby.
That's average.
29th. 29th.
Dead last, almost.
24th.
That's below average.
Does any of that add up to elite? For our listener, I know one listener.
He was elite.
No, wait a minute. No. Hold on, y'all two. No. Listen, y'all don't know the background. That's Shannon. That's for Shannon. Then nothing else. Y'all don't read anything else into that other than that's to Shannon Allen. Remember, Shannon missed a game earlier this year by 110 points. So be easy, Shannon, on your predictions. But we got Bobby on the phone. Bobby, we've got the Shelby Golden Lions win night 31-14. Big win. That sets up South Point next week for the championship. We got 2 conference championship games on KTC Broadcasting next week.
Yeah.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, I'm just so proud of my Shelby Golden Lions tonight. I just got back from East. It was a very good game from the start to the finish. I'm just so proud of Shelby. They have really showed me that they really want to play football and win. They're getting back like they used to be. Shelby, as the years go on, they always get stronger and stronger. And tonight they proved it. They played up against East Livingston team that's they got a real good football team on both offense and defense. I think one of the things that made the difference in the game tonight, and I was talking with Isaiah Best, they just played real good defense also, and they was keying in on everything that East Livingston showed them, and they just wore them out basically. One thing that I was so glad to see that Shelby kept their offense off the field probably about 70% of the game. And that's one of the things that really made the difference to them towards going to victory tonight. And Isaiah Bass, he played real good, and just everybody just played to the good quality football. And that's, in other words, they played good typical Shelby Golden Line football, and that added up. And once they got to going, they just could not get stopped, and couldn't be stopped. And they just really showed that they played good Shelby High football tonight.
Bobby, I've got a question for you. I have not seen East Rutherford this year. The scouting report says they're very quick. They have a lot of skilled players in both offense and defense. They have a Shrine Bowl running back there that's supposed to be very quick. You saw them play tonight. What is your take on East Rutherford?
From what I've seen tonight, I believe it was the Jones boy that scored that last touchdown tonight against Shelby. He is very, very quick. They got about 3 or 4 guys on the offense that's very capable of being good running backs. And he went out through there like a streak of lightning. Before I knew it, he had the ball in his hand and wasn't nobody around him. And next thing I know, he was sitting in the end zone. That's just how quick I think they maybe was a little flat tonight, but Shelby just wore them out. And as I said earlier, they kept their offense off the field, and that really made it hard on them tonight. And Shelby defense just stifled them. They was ready for anything that East had, and they just keyed in on them. They knew who had the football tonight, and before you know it, they was tackling. So, they was just ready for anything that he said tonight.
Well, Bobby, the reason I asked that question, I'm looking at the 3A division and the 2A division, and similar situation. You got Shelby and South Point next week for the conference championship. Some team is going to be second, and some team is going to be third. And I think some of these conferences are going to not like it when one of these second and third place teams roll into their stadium in the playoffs, because they have the potential to be a very, very tough game for them. Same thing in the 3A with Huss being the number 1 seed. Kings Mountain and Crest play next week. That second and third team is going into somebody's stadium and lay a whooping on somebody, just like in the 2A division.
Well, you're exactly right. If Shelby play anything tonight, if they play the rest of their games, I understand they got one more. If they play like they did tonight against South Point, I'm almost 80% sure you'll see a Shelby victory next week. They just, as I said earlier, they played to the fullness tonight, and I don't think they could have did it any better. But let's just hope they're going there doing the same thing they did tonight. As Isaiah Best said tonight, one of the things we got to do next week is that we got to control their offense. We got to play even more better defense than they did tonight. And but if they play anything better than they did tonight, I'm sure that Shelby's going to win again next week.
Oh, Bobby, excuse me, Bobby, you've been around. We talked with Steve DeGree earlier about this upcoming game. You don't have to watch film on South Point. At this point of the season, you know exactly what they're bringing, exactly what they're going to do. All you got to do is stop it and score on it. And you guys have played Shelby and South Point enough that you know how to do that. So good luck and best wishes to you.
Well, I just want to say that if Shelby just bring the A game like they did tonight, there won't be no problem. I think we should take it on next week. And they got another thing, and I know I have to go, but I just got to say this. The one thing that Shelby needs to do is stay focused on the game from the sideline, all the players. And I think once they do that, that should lead to hopefully win next week. And the coaches is really up on the players doing their job out there on the field. And that's one thing that's happened tonight also.
Well, Bobby, we wish you luck next week. Terry?
Bobby, I want to tell you something, the facts for Shelby and what it means to Shelby fans, Shelby coaches, Shelby players, and everything. Shelby, with this win tonight, gave them 7 wins for the year. 46 out of the last 47 years, Shelby has had 7 wins or more. You know, that is one heck of a record to have beside your name.
Oh yeah. Well, Shelby, I cannot remember them ever losing more games than they won. I don't know if there was. I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking right now, but nevertheless, Shelby always finds some way to win. They just know to do that, and that's what happened again tonight. And look at their record now. They've won, I believe, 5 or 6 straight, and that's just the way Shelby do it.
Well, Bobby, we appreciate your call, and for all the Shelby fans that were moaning and groaning when you started off the season, look where you are now.
Oh, yeah. And like Steve said, the fans just going to have to be a little patient with the coaches, let them do their job. And I think once they do that, everything's going to be okay. And who knows, we might win the state.
There you go.
All right, thank you, Bobby, for giving us a call. Next week, Shelby and Southwood. All right, Terry, we got some more inside stats here. Will, I just like doing this because I know Shannon's listening. All right, who do y'all think that Blake Bortles is? Terrible, good, awful, great?
He's probably better than
Blake
Cam
Bortles.
statistically.
Oh, I know. Against Dallas, we ate him alive.
Horrible is a good word for horrible.
We ate him alive.
I'd call Bortles horrible too. In 4.5 years, he's led the NFL in 6 passer categories. In 7.5 years, Cam's led in 3. How about that one? Okay. This year, Bortles has more yards per attempt, more yards per game, Touchdowns, Cam 11, Bortles 9. But Bortles is horrible. All time, Bortles best. How about the MVP season, Terry?
Yeah.
You want to look at this one?
Yeah.
This one's fun, isn't it? Cam's MVP season. Bortles had more yards, same completion percentage, same touchdowns, same yards per attempt. He had more yards per game, slightly worse rating, 94 to 89, and then slightly worse on the QBR, 67-52, which takes into account
How many rushing yards did Cam have that year?
You want to bring up rushing? I got one for you. Bortles,
No.
Yeah.
How many rushing yards did Cam have that year?
I'm going to tell you in just a second.
No. We're talking about you were talking about his MVP year.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about quarterbacks or running backs? Did anybody say anything about Barry? Terry, did you bring up Barry Sanders? Did you bring up Gale Sayers?
How many wins did he have that year?
Running.
How many wins did Bortles have that year? How many wins did Newton have that year?
All right, I'll talk about your playoff wins.
No.
You ready?
No.
In the playoff wins.
We're talking about regular season where they get the MVP for the player. Regular season. How many wins did Bortles have that regular season?
When
he
can't help his defense wasn't any good.
How many wins did he have? Okay. Cam was 15-1.
Yeah.
That season.
No, the Panthers were 15-1.
The defense was 15-1.
Yeah.
15-1.
The Panthers were, here's what happened, Will.
15-1 that season.
I'm going to give you an update on what happened.
He was the MVP.
No, he wasn't.
Check the trophy.
I just read the stats.
I want you to check the trophy. Check the trophy.
How do you get it?
Who got the MVP?
How do you get the MVP?
Who got the MVP?
I know, but how do you get
the same person that Von Miller said we was going to make that dude beat us, and he did not.
So,
and that is true. That is true.
So, that season,
based on Von Miller's attack in that game, we now have this rule about the quarterbacks and slamming their heads and concussions.
Well,
he didn't even know he was playing in that game, man.
So, in the first round of that season,
I don't know what your hatred is towards Cam Newton. That's where I'm trying to get
I'm just stating facts.
What your hatred is towards?
No, did I say I didn't like him? I'm just naming Blake Bortles stats.
You wouldn't bring up facts
Blake
and
Bortles
stats of this sort if you didn't have a true hatred towards.
It sounds
Cam
like
Newton.
Someone's very defensive about the Blake Bortles stats, isn't it? I'm just naming Blake.
No. First and foremost,
just let me say all the stats before you tell me everything that I'm wrong about.
Blake Bortles can play football better than both of us, and we both played football.
Right. So
he can play football better than both of us. So that
in 4.5 years,
for me watching football, Blake Bortles.
In 4.5 years, Blake has led the NFL in 6 passing categories. Cam 3 and 7.5. Now Cam's Super Bowl season. Let's go over that. In the first round of the playoffs, they were up 17-0 before Cam ever threw a pass. So what did he do in that game? Nothing. The next game, Terry, the other team's quarterback threw 4 interceptions. Terry, what happened in that game?
Excuse me.
That's Cam Newton won that game. The other team threw 4 interceptions. I said let me finish. And then in the Super Bowl, what happened when they played the number 1?
Right now, do not drink the Kool-Aid that you're hearing right now.
Now, back to let me finish my stats on that one. So, you want to say Russian? You brought up Russian. I got one Russian stat for you. I got you. Here's my Russian stat. You ready for my Russian stat?
I want to get you some more Russian stats.
All time, Blake Bortles. You ready for this? He has a higher rushing average than Cam Newton.
Oh, and Kevin, to add
he has a higher rushing average than Cam Newton.
To add fuel to your fire,
6.4 to 5.2
in Wembley Stadium. His record is what?
Who? Blake? He's never been beaten in Europe.
He's never been beaten. They should move the whole Jaguar team.
Send the Jaguars to the EuroLeague.
The Jaguars. Because he can't lose over there. Honestly, but we're talking about Jacksonville.
Honestly,
Blake.
Will, the point of all...
Ask Jalen Ramsey what the defense thinks of Blake Bortles.
So the point of all that is... the point of all this, in the end, is for... You have to look into the stats and not believe sometimes what the press says. And during the Romo era, you would think they lost every game because of him. You have to look at all the sides. Eli Manning. Everybody says Eli's bad right now, right?
Eli's horrible right now.
Eli's 6th in yards. He's like 5th in touchdowns. He's not bad.
But he's horrible right now.
He's not. I just told you his stats.
He's horrible right now. You're looking
at
stats so you could watch the game and watch him play. He plays scared.
He's
playing scared. He's not. He don't have the same.
It's not. You think it's his fault they're losing?
No, I don't think it's his fault that they're losing.
Is he an NFL quarterback? Is he a starter?
That everything starts with the 5 up front.
Right.
In any stage of football, everything starts with the front
and I
5.
think he's got the worst starting line I might have ever seen. Besides the University of North Carolina.
I'm going to tell you who got the worst starting line.
Who?
Green Bay Packers. We got the best quarterback in football, and we don't know how to protect him.
Will, can I ask, what's all this got to do with high school football?
I know. Well, what I was getting at is that basically sometimes when someone says something, someone's terrible, they need to prove it.
I'll call you on Saturday. We'll go over all this stuff.
It's time for you to give the scores, Terry. You ain't been here in a while. So we've got everything on the board for tonight finalized, finally. Even that crappy Georgia Southern game. Then we got so tomorrow night, folks. For if you didn't hear your scores tomorrow night, Alexander Central and Hickory's tomorrow. Watauga Freedom's tomorrow. East Lincoln plays tomorrow.
And Kevin will be here giving Tony Romo stats.
Highland Tech at Union Academies tomorrow, and then we got Cherville at Pine Lake Prep. Hey, listen, Romo's the only athlete in human history to play in the NFL, NBA, and PGA Tour. Easy
anymore.
Yeah, I just
did he ever make the cut in the PGA?
No, not yet, but he's there.
Well, I haven't made it yet, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Please.
Tomorrow night, going in tomorrow night. I don't know if Carson got to mention it though. Cherville going in tomorrow night. Terry, you had sent us the rushing stats earlier this season. Jaden Blanton's up to in the 900s. The all-time record I think was 13-something, if I remember correctly. Do you remember that? Was that what it was?
Got it out.
We had it out down the hall, but I think Gary Johnson was at the 1300 maybe on the season. Or he might have come in second. But anyway, James within earshot of it. He needs a ton of yards, but he is within earshot of it. So he does have a chance to. You talked to y'all said another player was within about 400 yards. So who do you remember?
I cannot remember.
In the preseason. I know you got all your notes here. Yeah. All right, JP's got a phone caller, guys.
All right.
And let me read the rest of the scores, and we'll go to the phone caller real quick. Crest 63-14 over Burns. Shelby 31-14 over East Rutherford. Kings Mountain 55-16 over Forest View. Bandy's 49-0 over Lake Norman Charter. Huss 31-7 over Kramer. Bessemer City 44-43 over Davidson. Ashbrook 28-20 over North Gaston. South Point 49-0 over Chase. Thomas Jefferson 32-27. RS Central 21-6 over East Gaston. West Iredale Falls 56-14 at High Brighton. 63-14 over East Burke is Fred T. Ford. North Lincoln Wednesday night 36-26. St. Stephen's Falls 44-28 South Caldwell. McDowell 56-6 over West Caldwell. And Patton 39 Bunker Hill. We got Jeff Jones on the line, and Jeff, your first job, I guess. I need you to name 7 teams better than High Brighton in the 2A.
7 teams better than High Brighton?
Yeah, that's what the state says.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that ranking system. I don't think there's 22 teams better than Shelby either. And I also didn't think that East Rutherford should be ranked at South Point, especially after South Point beat them by 11. So I hadn't quite figured that one out yet.
Neither have we, Jeff.
No, I mean, and I know one thing they did was they got rid of, margin of victory, but it's almost like they got rid of strength of schedule at the same time, so I just don't know.
I think it's core curriculum or something.
I tell you what I do know. Shelby dominated the line of scrimmage tonight. That was, I heard a couple people call in, and the Shelby offensive and defensive fronts just controlled the line of scrimmage, and that was the key tonight. And it was, we've been looking forward to that for a while.
Well, Jeff, you're an old line coach. You got South Point coming.
Yeah, mostly
old. I'm not calling you old, Jeff. Old.
Well, I'm not as old as you, but we don't get into that.
Hey, I got a birthday coming up in November. But anyway, you're an experienced line coach. You got South Point coming in. How do you prepare for that South Point offense as a line coach?
Well, one thing nice is I was an offensive line coach, so I didn't have to prepare for their offense. But I can tell you, it's the old-fashioned thing that you always hear. You got to have a guy taking the fullback. You got to have a guy taking the quarterback. You got to have a guy taking the pitchback.
Yep.
And the thing about it is, they can run 15 plays and you can play it perfectly, and one guy gets out of position on the 16th play and they can go 60 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And it's just,
it's difficult because South Point comes out low, hits you in the knees, and it's totally legal. There's nothing dangerous about it. I get tired of hearing, oh, it's dangerous, and it's just different. I mean, they come out and hit you in the knees, and so you got to get your hands down, you got to push them down, you got to defeat that block, and then you got to take on that fullback, and there's all kind of ways to scheme. But the thing is, you got to have a linebacker taking the fullback. You got to have a defensive end taking the quarterback, and you got to have a safety taking the pitch back. And you got to do it against 6 different formations. You got to do it on a counter, and as soon as you get all that taken care of, then they run that quick pitch, and you've got to be where you're supposed to be. And it's difficult, What in the world happened to Virginia Tech tonight? Did you see that score?
No, I haven't seen it, Jeff.
Yeah, I did.
Georgia Tech beat Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech 49-28.
Well, I mean, they got beat by Old Dominion. I'm not surprised by any.
Oh, come on now.
anything.
Well, you got Georgia Tech.
I mean, again, and that's that triple option. You just don't see it very much. And so, I know that I was talking to somebody. I don't remember who it was, but somebody said that they were trying to get ready for either Army or Virginia or Georgia Tech or somebody, and they said that they practiced for 2 days and they didn't have a football. They didn't use a football. They were just the fullback was running his track, the quarterback was running his track, the halfback was running his track, and the whole thing was everybody had to run to their man, and it didn't matter who had the football. And that's kind of the way you have to do it defensively. You can't worry about where the football is, because if you start looking for the football, that fullback's run past you and he's got 60 yards, and so it's tough. But it's going to be exciting. Going to be at Shelby. It seems like we played both games at Belmont last year, and I'm just hoping for another good game. But back to tonight's game, Shelby. That's the best game they played this year. It really is, and they needed to.
Well, Jeff, going into next week, do you think that does help them get? I should, right?
Yeah, and what's so nice is that East is a pretty good football team. They've got some really good skill players,
right?
And I got to watch a little bit of film. In fact, I got to watch the film of the South Point East Rutherford game.
They got some speed on the field, don't they?
They've got great speed, but I looked at their offensive line and I thought that's not a great offensive line, and I was hoping that our front seven could dominate their offensive line, and we did. And then I looked at their defense, and they're playing a lot of guys both ways, and I was thinking we need to be able to run the ball, and we did. We ran the ball, and then we were able to throw. If you can run the ball, their linebackers have to step up, and then you've got that 8-yard pass in the middle and things like that. And we gave up 1 sack. And we played a really good game, and it was nice. And we didn't give up huge plays in the special teams because they had run like 4 kicks back for touchdowns, and so it was a good solid victory. And of course, South Point's going to be better up front. I mean, they always are. So, but it was great to get that victory, and and it does set up that situation where East Rutherford's going to be a 3rd place team, and my understanding is a 3rd place team in a 16 conference is not even it's not an automatic qualifier.
No,
they should qualify because I think they're going to be 9-2.
Yeah,
but they're not going to be able to drop either of those 2 losses because they're conference losses.
Well, Jeff,
they're still going to qualify.
We talked about that earlier. You're one of these other teams, and you've breezed through a little soft schedule. And then you get an East Rutherford or that 2nd place team, whether it's Shelby or South Point or whoever comes into town, and you think, okay, we're the ranked, we're the big guys. You get one of those teams, you're going to have your hands full.
Well, can you imagine if you're a 3A school, and I don't know if Kings Mountain, I don't know what the numbers are as far as Kings Mountain, Huss, and Crest, but could you imagine if all 3 of them were in the same big or small 3A, and Crest or Kings Mountain's going to be a 3rd place team, and they're going to go play a team that might be 10-1 that hadn't played a whole lot of people, and then you got to play either Kings Mountain or Crest at home. That could be that's tough.
Jeff, last year's numbers, Huss had 11-18, Crest 1203, and Kings Mountain 1225.
Yeah, so they could all be in the same division, and one of those teams is going to be third place.
Oh, we saw an earlier bracket projection. I was talking to Terry about it, and it had some interesting matchups down through there, and it had even Burns in the playoffs, but they were playing Charlotte Catholic. So your alma mater did pretty good against them tonight too.
Yeah, it's a rough conference that they're in. Now the Southwest Conference, the 2A conference, it's East Shelby and South Point that you knew going in. After the first few games, you knew that those were going to be the top three. It was just a matter of how that was going to turn out. Yeah. And so now we're going to Shelby and South Point. But remember last year Shelby and South Point played, and South Point won. And what did they get for that? They got to play Shelby in the second round.
You're right. Turn right around and hit me again.
Yeah, and what's really weird, Shelby has never lost in Belmont in the playoffs. They played in Belmont at least 3 times that I know of, and they've won every time. And that's crazy. But and I thought maybe this past year was the biggest upset as far as Shelby being able to handle that South Point team. After losing to them fairly convincingly, 2 weeks before in the last round of the playoffs. So it's gonna be real interesting. But like I said, Shelby played great tonight, and there's been a lot of people that have said bad things, that have really criticized them up front, and it was a beautiful night. If you're an offensive line coach at Shelby, and I know Mike Wilbanks and Jamie Dunaway, they do a good job with the offensive line. They're going to sleep well tonight because they went out and they played well. So couldn't happen at a better time.
Jeff, I want to ask you one question back to the playoff situation. Do you like it when you get to the playoffs and you end up playing a same team that you've already played out of your own conference right off the bat?
I think it's tough, but it's one of those things like there's several ways to do it. And they used to say, okay, we're not going to let you play a conference team. And then you had weird. So since you were not going to play a conference team in the first round, then some teams got seeded lower than they probably should have been, so they didn't have to play a conference team
and travel.
So and travel, and it's just like, okay, every 4 years you redo the conferences, right? And so one year everybody says, oh, I hate those split conferences. I hate those split conferences. Okay, so we don't have many split conferences. And then 4 years later, what's everybody complaining about? Oh, we had to travel. Oh, we had to travel. And so, so we'll have a lot of split conferences, and then 4 years later, we'll have a lot of travel, and then 4 years later, we'll have a lot of split conferences. So, I mean, there's no way to fix it, other than somehow try to get everybody with the same number of students in the schools. But that's just tough. And I know we had a pod system, and what I'm glad we don't have is a situation where at the beginning of the year, the Southwest Conference is going to have 2 teams.
Yeah.
And that's the way it used to be in the old days.
Yeah,
in fact,
sure was.
guys, when's the last time Shelby High did not make the playoffs?
1990, maybe.
Terry, 91 was the last time you didn't have a winning season. Yeah. If that's the
90
answer.
was 90 was the last time he had a losing season. It was 4-6.
91. Okay.
All right. 92 is the last year Shelby didn't make the playoffs. You want to guess what Shelby's record was that year?
Probably 8-3.
It was 8-2.
Okay.
He only played 10 games. It was 8-2, and Shelby lost to South Point and lost to East Rutherford. Came in third in the conference
and stayed home.
And the conference only got 2 teams.
Yeah.
So they were 8-2 and set at home. So
and your third place team was probably better than a lot of those people who had first place teams.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, Shelby and South Point played the last game of the year, and the loser and whoever lost that game was not going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and then Jeff,
and that's what happened.
And Jeff, Chase and Cherville, I think, in back-to-back seasons, both lost like 3-way ties, and ended up out of that.
Yeah.
And so Chase would have made the playoffs, and that was the year they got beat by Shelby by 1 point, 7-6. And that may have been if they could have hit a 2-point conversion, they make the playoffs maybe.
That's right. So I'm glad we're not back into that. I like the fact that you're able to qualify based on your overall record, but I just wish somehow strength of schedule would come back into it, because looking at this game with East, I knew East was good and I knew they had good skill people, But I looked at their non-conference schedule. They had played 2 1A teams.
Yeah.
They were like 20 and 37 is what the teams they played in non-conference were. And then Shelby was like 37 and 13 and had played 5 3A teams and 1 2A team. So I was hoping that Shelby would show that, that strength of schedule would come out, and I think it did. But East is good. Shelby just beat them up front tonight.
Well, Jeff, you've been around long enough to know that a team that starts out 3-1, it's against who you've played. You might be better 1-3 playing some top competition that does exactly what you said, and that gets you prepared to play down the road.
Yeah, Forest Hills would always play a tough schedule, and there were several times, that Forest Hills would. I remember Forest Hills rolled into Shelby the year after we won state championship. We won in '98. They rolled into Shelby in '99. We played them in the second round, and their record wasn't very good, and they whooped us.
Yeah.
they had just gotten better as the year went on, and so that's why Shelby likes to play a tough non-conference schedule, and as long as they're not in the conference with the rest of the Cleveland County teams, well, that takes care of it because Kings Mountain, Crest, and Burns, generally, at least 2 of those teams are going to be good.
Yeah.
And Coach Ware's got to deal now with AC Reynolds, and they're good. They're good year in and year out. And then being able to play Freedom, they're good. So that takes care of the not. It's really unusual if you're not going to be forced to play a really good team, at least 3 of those 5. So that really helps.
All right, Jeff. Well, good luck next week, and can't wait to hear from you guys again. It'll be a great game next week on KTC, WHS, 1390 AM, 101.5 FM with Brent Pasco. Thank you and Noah and everybody for working hard over in Steve Degree and everybody.
All right. Talk to you next week.
All right, Thanks, Jeff. See you next week. Jeff Jones, Shelby Wednesday night, 31-14. We got to take a break. I want to say hello to some of our listeners tonight, possible listeners. Larry Brown, Tom Brody, Burt Jones, Brian Sipe, Ken Anderson, Earl Murrow, and Mark Mosley. You ever heard of any of them?
Well, yeah, they're all better than Cam Newton.
That's not what I said. I said, have you ever heard of any of them? Do you know any of those people? Do you know a Larry Brown, Tom Brody, Earl Murrow, Burt Jones, Brian Sipe, Ken Anderson, or Mark Mosley?
No, I don't know.
All of those are NFL MVPs. So be easy on that, folks. In fact, one of them's the kicker for the Redskins. That's how you win MVP. Kickers win MVPs. We'll be back in a minute, JP. KTCBroadcasting.com.
CarPro, located at 1520 South Post Road in Shelby, has tires. That's right, CarPro has tires. All sizes at the best prices in town. Buy a brand new set for $200, including mounting and balancing. And remember CarPro for all of your automotive needs, from an oil change to a tune-up, from air conditioning to heater work. Plus, check out the line of late model used cars, too. At CarPro, 1520 South Post Road in Shelby, right across from Ingles. And like them on Facebook, too. That's CarPro. Check out the great financing deals at Classic Ford Lincoln in Shelby. Get up to $4,000 in rebate on the 2018 Ford Focus, plus 0% APR financing for 60 months, plus $2,000 on the 2018 Ford Escape, and get 0% financing for 72 months on the 2018 Ford F-150 truck at Classic Ford Lincoln, 1775 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. All roads lead to the Classic Corner. Online at ClassicFordofShelby.com.
Former club members Denzel Washington and Jennifer Lopez for the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future.
You can change a child's future. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
You can open doors for children to have great futures at the Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland County. Visit us at 412 West Sumter Street or at greatfutures.org.
If it's time to spruce up your home, then head to Cleveland Lumber Company in Shelby. Make your home look like new. See the new display of Larson doors, plus stair spindles by Crown Heritage. And for those patios and porch areas, Cleveland Lumber Company in Shelby has Trex flooring. Put it down and forget it. Plus all the tools you'll need if you're a do-it-yourselfer. Your home projects begin and end with a stop at Cleveland Lumber Company, 217 Airwood Street in Shelby.
83. I'm not talking about any of that.
I think JP's wanting to bring us back here, boys.
I want to talk football.
That is football.
Are we back?
Yeah, I don't even know why you hate so bad on this. We still
I'm just shooting shots in your
point. I'm just Saturday morning.
I'm just putting bullets in that they've never heard.
Oh
Terry,
my God!
Am I not just giving him information he didn't have before the night started?
Facts.
That's all facts. All I'd like, I'm a diabolical.
Your hater rate is so few that you have to go.
Did I ever say any words about not dislike? Did I say dislike, hate? Terry, my witness is right here.
Listen, you're so few by your hate that you go dig up stuff to try to prove your point.
Support your local quarterback.
Support your local quarterback.
I should support whoever lives closest to me. Yeah, that's right. I don't even support the one that's the America's quarterback because he can't throw it 10 feet either. Golly. Terry said that about earlier here.
When you get rid of the coach down there,
that is the problem. It is a big problem.
What kind of video has he got on Jerry Jones? That's what I want to know.
Jason Garrett has got.
All I know is that involves some kind of goat.
He's got a goat. There's a goat bot. All right, North Lincoln wins tonight, 36-26. That sets up first place matchup next week with Bandies. Now, guys, you were talking about matchups a minute ago. You know, one of those is going to get a 1 seed or two, top 3, 4 seed there, right? One of those is going to have to host East Rutherford or maybe Shelby.
Yeah,
I mean, look. So I don't know what to say. You know, so you better hope you win that game, right, Terry? Because whoever's higher is going to. I mean, at this point, I guess you'd rather play East Rutherford than Shelby, but you don't want to meet Shelby in the first round. Definitely, West Lincoln.
We don't know whether it be Shelby or whether it be.
South. That's what I'm saying. It could be either one. Yeah, it could be either one.
And it all
Shelby
depends on
South.
where the middle line is. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. Think about it, y'all. A lot of teams finish their last game tonight. They don't even play next week, and they don't know whether they're in the playoffs or out of the playoffs. Not next week. Not even the next.
Yeah,
Will they even know?
What are we going to do November 9th? We're going to come in here and compare quarterback stats or what?
I guess we're gonna do.
We can go over each conference.
So we have some great research done on how many touchdown passes was through by a quarterback in a conference, or whatever nonsense. How many losing seasons did a quarterback throw more touchdowns than somebody?
I tell you what,
some kind of nonsense.
The Bedford City reunion, basketball reunion game.
I'm not gonna watch that.
Is November 17th.
Just for
since we got the week off, I'm gonna see if they'll bump it up to 9th, and everybody in the area can just come watch me shoot basketball. No,
just for the community.
No.
Did you notice the silence?
I know. That's such hate. Such hate. You give me the hater rate.
For the comedic aspect of the game.
Will, I might win the 3-point contest if Ty don't shoot. You can't beat that dude, man. He's ridiculous. So Shelby tonight win 31-14. Will, did you know that I averaged half a touchdown per start against Shelby passing the ball? Talking about passing the ball. Half a touchdown per start. Yeah.
3 points, right?
Just what? It's better than 0. What are you laughing at?
I'd like to apologize to all the listeners.
Terry, how many people have never thrown a touchdown against Shelby?
Well, that's true.
That's
he even brought out the guns to salute.
I know.
Hey,
he threw one touchdown. He pulled out the 6 shooters, and they sent him to the bench.
Yeah. I even blew them off, Will. They were so hot.
Hey, not even Tony Romo threw a touchdown pass against Shelby.
Hey, I would have averaged 1 per game if my dumb tight end didn't run the wrong route, and I was throwing the post to the wide receiver.
Wait a minute. You did average a touchdown that game.
Started twice against. I had 1 touchdown.
You had 2, because you threw an interception, a pick 6. So that's
no, I didn't.
You threw a pick 6 in that game.
No, I didn't. I've never thrown a pick 6. I know that, because I always made the tackle after I threw the pick.
Was Andre?
He ain't running a pick 6. Hey, Will, I tell you what. What's funny about that? Against Maiden, I threw a pick, and the guy was about to run the pick 6, and we got about to the 15-yard line, right? And there was, everybody's running up the sideline. I saw the Maiden guys behind me. I just stopped. The guys right over my back. They threw a block in the back, called that no pick 6, and saved it. Didn't even make the tackle.
Terry.
Smarts, Will. that not a great play, Terry?
That is
that's a stop right in front of a guy behind you. Don't throw
that's
the
the biggest
block in the
flop
back.
as Joe Embiid's flop the other night.
You are 100% right. That was a huge flop. It's embarrassing. But I got the play call. I made the play, Will. Terry, when you defensive coach says make the play.
Get him out of here.
That's a good play, ain't it?
Hey, Will.
You can't coach the instincts like that. You can't coach the instincts like that, Will. No, but I would have had to if I was throwing the post and the tight end he just ran a straight. He was supposed to run out like a 5-yard out. He ran straight down the field, so I threw the post. Here comes the tight end, run down the field. He just throws his big 6'8" hands up, thinking it's for him. And he pretty much played defense knocked it down. So anyway, that would have been one. I could have bragged about winning a game, but nonetheless, we sucked then. 31-14. Shelby over East Rutherford. And I do want to mention though, Will and guys, we talk about a lot of these teams that the success of Shelby. Terry, the guys that practice every week that don't win the games, not everybody can be successful. They put a lot of work in it. They hit each other's heads. They hit each other in the face every week. We're practicing hard.
Same amount of time.
In fact, I would almost go say this way. I know you're going to laugh at this too. The teams that lose should get more credit than the teams that win, because I'm going out there and getting my face stomped in 56-60.
And where did you play?
And I'm just saying, just for example, all these lopsided scores, like all the kids at Lake Norman Charter, they got hit harder tonight than anybody on Bandy's did tonight. They're the ones going home feeling bad. But Bandy's gets all the credit. And, hey, you guys wonderful and everything. But, there's 30 players on the other team. I do want to give credit to some of these teams. Like the chase streak, everyone wants to talk about that. If they would have got a 2-point conversion in 98, they would end the streak and they're in the playoffs. Just one play away. How many games this year have we had, and over the years, 2-point conversions and 1-point conversions in the playoffs? At Crest-Shelby matchups, Crest-Burns, Shelby-Burns. Even in all those matchups, the extra points. Terry, this year, North Lincoln, 7-6 victory over West.
Yeah.
Extra points. I mean, you got to do all three phases of the game. And I do want to mention that those kids and everything and the job that they do. We do talk a lot about the stars and everything on there. We were having fun joking around, guys. Don't take us so serious.
Yeah. And don't forget, when you start talking about all that, I start thinking about band members, cheerleaders, everybody. All the people who give up their time on a Friday night or Thursday night,
any on the band?
Whatever, to come and sell tickets, to do the concessions.
We didn't have a band.
Do half and halves.
We didn't have football.
Okay.
These are people giving up their time.
JP, was you in a band in high school?
No, I was homeschooled, so I wasn't in a band.
I should have known that. That was a dumb.
I played.
Just ask if he's in.
I played the piano a few years.
Keep playing
That's tough. Marching band.
That
counts.
I've always thought about getting maybe like a violin.
You want to start a band?
Electric guitar, but no, I was never in a band.
all right.
I work in the band in the background doing words, but that's pretty much it.
And I don't know if they let schools. Some schools used to have policies like you couldn't do football and bands. They might still do. Some still do. I remember there was a time like when Andre and them first started. I think 9th and 10th grade. He'd come out and do the halftime show with a trombone in his football uniform. And now I think a lot of them don't allow him to do that. Or I know they changed it in our 11th grade year because he quit the band 11th grade year because of it. He's like, I like doing it, but I'm not going to quit football because of it, But so yeah, Terry, you're exactly right. The band, the cheerleaders, they're out there a lot too. They spend a lot of time, and everybody else at the fields that do. All right, Dennis, you guys next week, Crest and Kings Mountain. First place.
What can
Is
I
that
say?
for first place? No, it's not.
Second
place.
place.
Sorry, forgot about that.
Yeah, we're number 2.
Now, will there be any posters holding that up next week?
I believe I'll bring one out there.
Would you rather be number 2 or number 3?
That's why we're number 2.
I don't care which one.
You want to go on record to say?
If it's not number 1, it's first loser.
You're right.
But here's the point.
If you're not first, you're last.
You are right.
But it's all about, at this point, everybody starts over. Everybody is 0-0 going into the playoffs. It don't matter if you're Charlotte, Catholic, High Brighton, Hunter Huss, or whatever. You got to win them all or go home.
We do got to mention, we always forget, you can drop an out-of-conference game. So some of these records are going to be slightly different. Shelby lost a couple out of conference. They lost 3 out of conference, actually. So they'll be able to drop one of those.
Kings Mountain definitely dropped the Shelby game.
South Point dropped 2 out of conference. So, both of them.
Crest will drop Weddington.
The bad news for Shelby is that they lost 3 and South Point lost 2. So, they if they win, they ain't got to worry about it, really. So, I guess not. Kings Mountain, as far as I can tell, did not lose any out of conference game. They did. They lost to Shelby, so they can take that one off. Their open week was week 1, and then they've played 11 straight games. And they've had the Kings Mountain injury bug. What a surprise, right? And so they've had to deal with that.
Yeah, but they're getting healthy at the end of the season. Usually, an injury bug starts right now.
I think Mac in the cold weather is just. If they, Coach Lloyd in the game plays their cards right and pound him.
Guys, all you young guys that play football, it's getting that time. You're going to have to keep them legs warm. You can't go over to the sideline and just sit on the bench. You're going to have to keep them moving because if you don't, you're going to pull hammies, you're going to pull growings. There's things that's going to snap and pop. And then you'll be walking around like me when I try to wake up in the morning. So you got to stretch your muscles the whole time.
You wake up like Rice Krispies, snap, crackle, and pop.
I hear all that going on in the morning.
Well, I tell you what, Will, I see whoever wins the game next week having a slight advantage, but not a big advantage because, Terry, it doesn't matter if you finish second or third next week. At some point, you're on the road.
Yeah, and, I mean, we say this every year. If you're a good team, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to follow you. You've been on the road before. I mean, you'd hate to sit back and say, hey, Shelby, you're going on the road. I know you're scared, but they're not.
No.
I mean, they've done that tons of times. Crest has done that tons of times. That's nothing big for them.
Well, you go to I remember back some years ago, Crest had to go to Richmond County, and they lost. I think it was 56-55 or something of that nature. It is. And what's so bad about doing that, Terry, is not the loss, it's that ride back where you have to deal with it because that's your total season. I remember coaching college ball and being 33 wins and 2 losses, and you have to win the district tournament to go to the national tournament. And we lost to a team that was not nearly as good as I won't say anything about referees, but it was a loss that shouldn't have happened, and it was the feeling that you get, what have I done all this hard work and won all these victories for, and now I'm going home.
And I remember from basketball when we made the playoffs and they put us down and we're going to East Davison, and I thought, hey, man, it's just another conference, another opponent, let's go play them. And then when I saw them warming up, I said, oh, no, we're in trouble because they were pretty good. Even on warm-ups, they was doing warm-ups I'd never seen in my life. So, and we got out there, and then we had some terrific three-point shooters. And one of our big three-point shooters got her shot blocked. It was the first shot she took from three-point line. And I just shook my head, and I looked at Coach, and I said, this is going to be a long night. And it was. But it wasn't the point of that. It's the point we had a good team. But, some places, and I'm not going to say they was better than us, but, a lot of places, sometimes you got more talent, a lot more talent than what we had, and they did. I mean, we were good. We had won our conference, but, we just got matched up with somebody that we could not defend.
And sometimes you're lucky, and sometimes you're not.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Will, I'm looking at this score for Georgia Southern and App State tonight. Congratulations to Georgia Southern. I've got a friend that coaches down there. I know that they've got a good program. Their head coach used to be an assistant in Appalachian. They got other guys down there from Appalachian. It's like Appalachian South. That game to them was their Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was. I had Appalachian people come to me Monday, and they said, have you seen what happened? And I was like, heck, yeah, I saw it. I said, y'all ranked 25th. And they were Appalachian people, and they were already claiming, I wish this had not happened.
Yeah. And
because they said, here we are ranked. We got to go to Georgia Southern. We're both undefeated, conference lead on the line, and we're ranked. That just gives them some other motivation to knock us off. Now we have beat a ranked team, so.
All right, if you're Jalen Moore, you're cruising. You're on your way to getting drafted into professional football, and this happens to you. Now here, Terry, you've already redshirted your freshman year. You are a fifth-year senior. But my understanding from a friend who's had a conversation is he may apply for a 6th-year red shirt.
You can do that.
Yeah, because of injury. if you were Jalen Moore, would you go on to the pros even though you've got to go through all this rehab and healing process, or would you come back for another final triumphant tour and hope to move up in the draft?
That all depends on how you want to look. I mean, if somebody says, and well, you can speak of this also. Somebody going to tell me, look, you're going to be 6th, 7th round pick. Maybe I need to go on back to school.
Yeah.
You know, and Darren Roseboro from Lincoln, and he went back. Why? So he could prove himself.
Well, that's
move his rankings up, and when it comes to the NFL picks, you know, I mean, that's why he did it.
And coaches know, they talk to the scouts, they talk to the person. In basketball now, you can go to the combine,
yes,
and if you don't have an agent, you can come back and play. And I think we ought to do something fair to these football guys as well.
Sorry, Terry's got to go do a scores. We're getting a little late here.
Interrupt that conversation.
Yeah, I had to. Real quick, Terry, I got a stat for you. See if you agree with me. Real quick, Cam Newton stat.
Oh, my God.
If the Panthers would have started Armani Edwards for the last 7 years, they would have the same number of Super Bowl wins.
Oh, how's he doing up in Canada?
Ain't that right?
He's tearing it up.
Wait, is that a fact?
He's tearing it up.
If Armani would have started the last 7 years, would they have the same number of Super Bowl wins?
If it started you that have the same
Exactly,
number.
that's my point. All right, top 10. Let's do this. You ready for that, Will?
All right.
Will, they could have started you the last 7 years. Had the same number of Super Bowl
wins.
wins.
That's a whole lot of haterade.
I just said a fact.
Haterade.
God. Did you know that John Fox never saw Jimmy Clausen or Armani Edwards throw a pass in college and drafted them both?
Was that John Fox or was that?
That was seriously. John Fox never saw them throw either one of them throw a pass before. Was it Gettleman drafted them? He didn't see any of them. He admitted I never saw anything. All right, y'all ready for
Here's
something?
10.
Well, that's not exactly the number. I had to do some math. I hadn't rearranged them. It takes a little bit more effort than that, Dennis. I had to do a little fuzzy math there before I get it right. All right, y'all ready for this now?
Rock on.
I think I got it right. We'll do the top 10, and then I'll adjust from 10 through 11. All right, at 10 right now, Maiden Blue Devils at 7-3. They've jumped up into the 10 spot with 9 power points. Number 9, the North Lincoln Knights. They're 8-2 overall. They have 11 power points. They're tied with Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson is number 8, so they're in the same spot. Shelby and Will, that's really all you got to do, because I got to figure out 11 through 20 here in a minute. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 stay the same. Shelby wins tonight, so they switched with East Rutherford. So I've already switched them when I did that earlier. So that's sick. You can go ahead and sit down. We've already got the top 10 in. I got to do some fuzzy math on the other. So top 10: Maiden 10, North Lincoln 9, Thomas Jefferson 8, East Rutherford 7, Shelby 6, South Point 5, Bandy's 4, Crest 3, Kings Mountain 2, Huss 1. So next week we've got matchups between number 3 Crest at number 2 Kings Mountain. We've got number 4 Bandy's at number 9 North Lincoln. Then we've got number 5 South Point at number 6 Shelby. So, guys, there's 3 games right there. We have 6 of the top 10 on KTC next week already on the schedule on the board. So, it's going to be fun next week, guys. Let y'all kind of wrap it up here on the night and give the final scores and all that other stuff. And that's my top 10, and I'm going to go help JP get ready to end the night.
All right, Will, why don't you give those scores over there?
All right, we got Crest 63, Burns 14, Shelby 31, East Rutherford 14, Kings Mountain 55, Forest View 16. We got Community School at Davidson 43, Bessemer City 44. We got Hunter Huss at 31, Kramer at 7, and we got Bandy's at 49, Lake Norman Charter at 0. We got Maiden 43, Newton Connell 40. We got Ashbrook 28. We got North Gaston 20. We got South Point 49, Chase 0. We got Thomas Jefferson 32, Mountain Island Charters 27. We got RS Central 21, East Gaston 6, High Brighton 56, West Iredale 14. We got Fred T. Ford 63, East Burke 14. We got North Lincoln 36. No opponent. 26. And we got, let's see, South Caldwell 44, St. Stephen's 28, McDowell 56, West Caldwell 6, and Patton 39, Bunker Hill 0.
Oh, Will, I don't always give enough credit to Terry over here. He's got a great football mind, and he knows all the teams in the area and the regions. He's followed the scores for the full season, and now it's down to the final game for the season. And Terry, I'd like to get some of your thoughts about some of these upcoming matches. Let's just start with the Shelby South Point game. Tell us what you see taking place in that game, and I don't want to usurp your pregame show, but tell us, do a little prognosticating there.
Well, I just think it's come down. I mean, it don't matter where they play. You're going to have a good game whether you play in Belmont, whether you play up here in Cleveland County. South Point, they continue to get better in the same way that Shelby has done this year. Shelby started off slow. Big win over Kings Mountain changed their whole season to me.
Yes.
And when they got that win, then they have believed in each other ever since. Coach Ware's a great coach. He's got great assistant coaches. Same thing with South Point. I mean, they have the same thing. When you put both of them out there on the field, you're going to get the best out of both of them. I do not care who's going to win or how they're going to win, but you're going to get the best out of both squads. Can anybody match up with South Point square for square? I think Shelby can, because they have played against it. I've seen them when they had Hollyfield against it, when they didn't play up on the line of scrimmage and they put them 15 yards back to play against South Point, and they stopped every hole that South Point was trying to come through. You know, I've seen great, and then they shut them out. First time South Point been shut out in forever. You know, so when you get to this game, I know everybody's saying, hey, this is what we match with. This is what high school football is about to me. Coming down to the last game of the year, and I'm glad these games are the last ones. Do I want to pick a winner? I will next Friday when we walk in here. But, you know, I'm not going to pick somebody tonight. That's right.
5:30, the pregame show. I'm going to ask you to comment on one other game here, and then I'll let you have a wild card and pick one that you see being a showdown and an interesting game. Crest and Kings Mountain. What's your take on that game?
Cleveland County, y'all tell me all the time that's rival games. No matter who you talk to in Cleveland, even if the margin's like 102 to 1.
Don't matter what your record is.
Yeah, it's one of them things that when you have matchups like that, you know, I always say, well, that's not a rivalry. I always look at rivalries as being a Bessemer City versus Cherryville, where one is one as much as the other one. But, you know, for Cleveland County fans, don't get me wrong. It's great matchups. It's great players that hit the field every week. And when I think of that game right there, I mean, you know, you want to sit back and say, I wish they were playing for first, but y'all mentioned it a while ago, you're playing for second.
We're number two.
That's hard. You know, that's hard to think of. I mean, you know, those two teams are playing for second on how good Hunter Huss is.
But, Terry, you throwed in a factor here. You talk about history and to be a rivalry, you got to win. Well, let's give Kings Mountain credit, Will. They've won the last couple of games, but the overall record is Crest. So, Terry, factor that in, and I know you're going to tell us next Friday on the pregame show.
Yeah, I will give you my prediction
Terry,
next Friday.
Is Crest and Cherryville more of a rivalry, or Crest and Kings Mountain according to the records?
Cherryville.
It might be.
Hey,
we went over them a long time ago. I can't remember.
When I was coaching at Crest,
I think y'all were 4-6.
Crest football was early on. Lincoln whooped our butt. Cherryville whooped our butt. Chase whooped our butt. You know, it was the Bessemer City. All those teams back then were established and good. Crest guys, they literally had to go in the locker room and show them how to put on their pants and their pads, Terry, you know, when you start from nothing. We see some of these schools here. We give some of these schools a hard time. How long's Highland Tech been playing football?
Yeah.
Well, all right. We got about a couple minutes left to show. Terry, real quick, who won the betting pool this year over in the South Fork 2A that had Bandies and North Lincoln going undefeated into the final week of the season, playing for the championship?
Not a soul. I mean,
not one. You don't think anybody had
that?
Well,
I'm gonna tell you. Well, unless it was their coach Nick Basil.
Mark Ludwig had that down. I know Mark. I know Mark.
Coach Eanes. I mean, they've done a great job. And hey, North Lincoln can win their first conference championship ever if they win next week.
Yeah. All right, and then of course it's time to talk about the biggest game of next week. Yeah, y'all ain't talked about it. Y'all ain't. Terry mentioned it. Real rivalry next week. There's a belt involved, isn't there, Terry?
That's over at Cherville.
In Cherville next Friday night
what's
on
the coach over at?
KTC Broadcasting. Which one?
Coach Pruitt.
Cherville's coach Tim Pruitt.
Coach
Bedford City is Coach Larry Boone.
Coach Pruitt.
He'll be calling Saturday morning.
Sir, if you are listening, I beg of you to keep the belt in Cherville. Do whatever you have to do to keep the belt in Cherville.
They had to take it week 1. They took it week 1. And
they whooped some tail week 1. I want them to whoop some tail in the last week of the season.
It's going to be a good game. Playoff implications on the line, Terry? Or both of them in, out, right on the bubble? You think on that?
It's just a matter of where.
All right, guys. We really got to get out of here. The final on that, is Bessemer up 1 in the series on that one? I think that was. Now, wasn't they up 2 and then they lost this one?
Yes.
And so I think Bessemer's up 1. It's like 54-53 or something like that, and 2 maybe. I think it's somewhere in that neighborhood. Well, Terry will have the exact numbers for you guys next week.
I got a question.
On Witherspoon pregame show.
When you played for Bessemer City,
yes,
who won?
Cherville won at every matchup I played in.
Okay. So
except for baseball.
When you played for Cherville, who won?
When I played for Cherville won. Cherville won all of them when I played, and on all the sports. Now, in 10th grade, though, 10th grade, Bessemer, so that would have been 98. Bessemer had a running back, and there were somebody, y'all remember Darren Sanders and William Lucas were their running backs. Darren Sanders won the 100-meter in the state. Now, this was when they were 2A. This ain't 1A football. And Darren also in the state won the shot put. Think about what I just said.
That's pretty good.
He won the shot put and the 100-meter. Not the shot put in the discus, the shot put in the 100-meter. He was one of the running backs. The other running back, William Lucas, weighed about 270 pounds, and nobody could tackle him. Luke was a big boy. I mean, he tore us up that year. But that was the same year Bessemer beat us that year that we beat Lincoln. So we all kind of just went in one big circle beating each other that year. So Cherville beat Lincoln, and I think Lincoln beat Bessemer. Bessemer beat Cherville all that same year in one big circle. So weird year. We got to go. So next week, Terry, on the pregame show. Guys, this is Thursday night. It's weird. Have fun at work tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
We'll have do our thing. We got Cherville football tomorrow.
It's gonna feel like Saturday
and then Saturday morning, we're gonna be fresh Saturday, Terry. We don't have to go. We don't have to go to bed at 1 o'clock for once on a Saturday morning. JP's excited to get out of here. All right, folks, we got to go. We'll see you next week on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Says it's quitting time. I said it's quitting time. I was the foreman. I was the one says when it's quitting time at Tara. Quitting time! Quitting time!
Listen to Dr. Randy Davis on the Sea Cruise every Monday from 2 until 6 on The Boss.
Your beach, oldies, and sports station.
WHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, W268CU Shelby.